items, okay? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شمل المسلمين والكريستيان والأمة في مدينة دباغ وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you, when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the lights of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
Madayaw maayong buntag sa tanan, Balag Tukod ug Tambayayong will officially launch the Balag at Tukod project of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, which will be implemented by the Tagum City Council of Women Foundation Incorporated. With that, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the organization's chairperson, Ms. Alma Uy, and the presidents of the Barangay Council of Women. The Tambayayong Hub Network of the Philippine Women's College of Davao, as a partner institution, is the host in opening the ceremonies as well as all the online learning sessions and the closing ceremonies with the theme Filipino Flora for a United and Resilient Nation, Talomnong Filipino alang sa ligon ug nakahiusang nasud. To open the program, let us hear it from the COO and Chancellor of the Philippine Women's College of Davao, Professor Vicente Antonio V. Tijano III.
NCCA Executive Director Alrayan Alejandre, Program Monitoring and Evaluation Chief Adele Sumith, Dr. Darwin Suyat, Project Director of Balag and Tukod and the team, Alma Uy, the Chair of the Tagum City Council of Women Foundation, the project implementers, students, teachers, community partners, friends in culture and arts, ladies and gentlemen, maayong buntag kaninyong tanan. Warm greetings from the Philippine Women's College of Davao. Today is a very timely event to celebrate the International Women's Month. We in PWC of Davao is most honored to be an institutional partner for this new nationwide 10-site project that marries culture and heritage to sustainable food and agriculture. Today we present Balad, Tukod, ug Tambayayong, the opening salvo of the NCCA's Balag and Tukod project in cooperation with the Tagum City Council of Women Foundation with the theme Talamuang Pilipino alang sa ligon ug magkahinunsang nasod. PWC of Davao has always been at the forefront of culture and heritage as well as in innovation on sustainable and functional food. Our Food Processing and Innovation Center, recently recognized as one of the best practices alongside a number of patented technologies and products, has a remarkably good example of how innovation are responding to research and development, especially in the time of the pandemic. Another viable, important initiative is our PWC's Tambayayong Network Hub, which is a consortium of 6 creative hubs along 6 local state colleges focusing on indigenous textiles, arts and crafts, food, farming, and emerging homegrown technology. These are bright opportunities for collaboration with the Balag and Tukod project and its co-cooperators that are underway. We are excited to see how this project move forward from Luzon down to Mindanao, reinforcing self-sufficiency and forging forward a resilient and a united nations. Again, maraming salamat at magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Good luck and all the best to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Pijano. Now, to share with us the objectives and the basis of our actions after hearing this initiative, ladies and gentlemen, we will give the floor to the project coordinator of Balag at Tukod, Dr. Darwin Suyat. Sir, please unmute, sir.
Ayun, ayun na. Okay na ba? Muli ang aking sa ating tagapag-ugnay, Binibining May Ongkiko. Okay na po ba ako?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ah, sa Pangulo ng ating Pangulo at Chief Operations Officer ng Philippine Women College of Davao, Professor Vicente Antonio Pejano III, sa Executive Director ng National Commission for Culture and the Arts, ang ating dating konsehal ng lungsod ng Davao at isang nasa TV broadcast noon, Executive Director Dr. Al Ryan S. Alejandre, sa Pangulo ng aming Tagum City Council of Women, aming Chairperson, Ma'am Alma Lim Uy, ang Pangulo ng Center for Innovations and Social Ventures ng Philippine Women College of Davao, Ginoong MEL Ingles, sa ating training facilitator at resource speaker na formal na ipapakilala mamaya, sa bumubuo ng programang ito, sa ating mga program partners, program implementers, mga service providers, mga commissioner ng National Commission for Culture and the Arts, mga taga-subaybay, mga kaibigan, isang mapayapa at isang masayang umaga sa ating lahat. Pwede na ba akong mag-screen share, Ma'am Ongkiko?
Yes po, sir. Please do.
Ito, ito na po ang ating programa sa ngayon, no? Ang Balag and Tukod Project. This is a project of the Tagum City Council of Women Foundation Incorporated, or TCCWFI, with support from the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. We have here the Balad and Tukod icon. If you can see, the colors are actually translated from the Philippine flag with yellow, blue, and red. And there are hands here. These are actually helping hands in agriculture and farming. I cannot move. Okay. For a while, ma'am. This might not be the one. I'll try this. Okay. This is actually the theme of the project. If we're going to go back to the basic education, there are three languages, no? Language one, which is the MTB-MLE, which means mother tongue base for multi-language education. Language two for Filipino, language three for English, and we also included in the basic education language four for foreign language. Ang ating paksa ay halamang Filipino para sa matatag at nagkakaisang bansa. We also have we translated this also in English, Filipino Flora for a United and Resilient Nation. Ug sa atong binisaya, ang talamnong Filipino alang sa lig-on ug nagkahiusang nasod. Kompleto ang ating atong theme. Let me introduce to you the program with this overview. The Philippine Development Plan, PDP, in 2017 to 2022, but now we are on the sustainable goals that we have since achieved, acknowledges the importance of culture and values in the development of the country, most especially in enhancing the social fabric to a high trust society. These culture and values are lenses to promote the Filipino spirit of bayanihan, world-renowned, thus enabling the government to respond and recover from the pandemic through promoting cultural awareness, thus inculcating values, advancing creativity for social impact. In building malasakit sa kapwa, there is a need to highlight the appreciation of the diverse Filipino culture, language, race, culture, traditions. In view of these premises, this project brings the importance of culture and values in the development program of local government units, also with the program implementers and non-government organizations. These are development programs in the government that will enhance mechanism in the fight against COVID-19 and in support to our dear cultural workers, artists, and generators of cultural knowledge that has an application in the governance. In this regard, the NCCA, or the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, National Committee on Cultural Education, has conceived the Balag and Tukod project to harness the sustainable spirit of Bayanihan to serve as the recovery engine for current destabilizing impacts of COVID-19. Allow me to present to you our program partners, our project partners, and expected activities. The Ballad and Tukod project is being implemented with more than 10 project partners all over the country, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The project conceptualization started last year, middle of last year, and the project has already started to implement the program utilizing our dear counterparts. And this is our first program partner. This is it. The Balag, Tukod, ug Tambayayong. Tambayayong is participation and cooperation, in which our host is the Philippine Women College of Davao. This is actually the former Philippine Women's University. Uh, I always have a high regard in school. The activities include webinars for the opening, which we are having right now, and closing ceremonies of Balad and Tukod. We also have webinars, hopefully, on edible landscaping that will be later part of the program, in which we are going to deal with food safety and basic manufacturing practices, since we deal with food in here. We are also going to conduct webinar on product labeling, packaging, and basic marketing principles for entrepreneurship, and the actual landscaping at the university premises. Allow me to introduce to you the project coordinator for Balag, Tukod, ug Tambayayong of the Philippine Women College of Davao, Sir Emmy Ingles, Head of Center for Innovation and Social Ventures of Philippine Women's College of Davao. Take a bow, Sir Emmy. Please acknowledge.
Good morning. Good morning po.
Next, we have this very interesting Langka Beginnings, Traditions, and Innovations, Jackfruit, in which our host is the Department of Education in BARM, or Bangsa Moro Autonomous Region for Muslim Mindanao in Lanao del Sur, 2 Division. Um, this actually will involve planting of hundreds of jackfruit trees in 10 schools and communities in Lanao del Sur, specifically in Pualas, in which we were there, Butig, and Tugaya. We are also going to create a video documentary on the Miranao wood carving. Take note of the spelling here and the pronunciation, and which will be part of the research, called wood carving called kapang kapang kapangukir. Creation of modules or self-learning modules for grade 3 utilizing Langka or Badak as lesson exemplar. The modules are written in Maranao language following the principles on MTB MLE with English translations. I may add that we are also going to include these self-learning modules in aside from the MTB MLE, which will be in Maranao. They will also be lessons in Araling Panlipunan, in mathematics and science, all for grade 3. Next, the creation of video cooking show on Maranao culinary traditions as jackfruit as the main ingredient. Masarap ang langka, pampaswerte. Creation of the television-based education or teaching video-based education materials as materials for teachers in basic educations, where lesson on the jackfruit is integrated. And may I introduce to you the project coordinator of the Langka Beginnings, Traditions, and Innovations. Let us all welcome Ma'am Waisa Sumander Arsad, Chief Executive Officer, Educational Program Supervisor of DepEd Lanao del Sur 2, BARM, Butig District. Good morning, Ma'am Waisa. Hello, ma'am. Next, the third is the gulayan sa Katilingban ug uban pa. This should be Katilingban. We forgot to put the N. Katilingban, society or community, in which the host is our very own Tagum City Council of Women Foundation Incorporation, together with Bianing Incorporated and the local government unit of Davao del Norte, the Office of the Vice Governor, Ray T. Uy. The activities will include barangay edible landscaping. We're going to somehow do it in all the barangays in Tagum City. We are also going to conduct workshop on food grade standardization and portioning, which is very important when we are going to deal with food. Then additional Bianing hubs or eateries for food suppliers. Actually, I've already started that at public market. And the project coordinator is yours truly, who is a trustee of the Tagum City Council of Women Foundation Incorporated. Next, let us move to the fourth one. Mga balag at tukod sa edukasyong pangkabuhayan at pangtahanan. Ang host naman natin dito ay ang Departamento ng Edukasyon ng Bayugan City Division, Province of Agusan del Sur. Ang mga gawain, una, edible landscaping in the schools. Ito naman ay gagawin sa mga paaralan, elementary schools ng Bayugan City Division. Magsusulat din sila ng mga self-learning modules para ito sa TLE or Technology and Livelihood Education. This is for secondary. Meron din gagawing mga lecture demonstrations on culture-based education integrating Balag at Tukod as lesson exemplars. Gagawa rin ng video presentation on culture-based education gamit ang Balag at Tukod. At ang ating project coordinator para sa proyektong ito na balag at tukod sa edukasyong pangkabuhayan at pangtahanan ay si Binibining Maria Teresa Jane B. Edulan ng Bayugan City National High School. Ma'am Tess, andyan ka ba? Ang susunod na proyekto, ito parang interesting, kasi we are dealing with emotions. Affective. Mga sari-saring hugot para kay COVID-19. At ang host natin dito ay ang Kalbayog Literary Arts Organization Incorporated. Ang mga gawain, una ay ang urban gardening in Samar. Meron pa rin tayong mga gardening kahit na nandun tayo sa urban area. At yan ay gaganapin sa Samar. Meron din tayong gaganaping hugot, preliminary and finals on spoken word poetry or siday. Wow, ang ganda nito, no? Literature. Meron din gaganaping awarding ceremonies para sa mga mananalo at ang compilation of siday written in vernacular sa kanila sa Samar, Filipino, and English. At ang ating project coordinator para sa mga sari-saring hugot para kay COVID-19 ay si Binibining Donna May B. Mercurio, Officer ng Kalbayog Literary Arts. Binibining Donna May, magandang umaga sa iyo. Next are voices from the field, still with culture and the arts. The host is Culturade with Museo ng Muntinlupa, am I correct? Cool Arts and Gong House Francisco. The activities will include edible landscaping at the different premises in Museo ng Muntinlupa and the city featuring plants for dyeing processes. Ito yung dye. We shall also have the workshop on tie-dyeing of binaludan fabric of the Iranons. This is exciting. International webinar on dyeing techniques with speakers from the Philippines, Bali, Indonesia, and Malaysia, where similar processes can be found. And the project coordinator for Voices from the Field is Ms. Cherise Aquino Togade, Director, Museo ng Muntinlupa. Hello, Ms. Cherise. I think Ms. Cherise is related to the DOTR Secretary, Sir Art Tugade. Good morning, Ma'am. Next, Hungan de Pague. Ifugao, rice rituals, and vernacular architecture. Let us now go to the mountainside. And the host for that is Save the Rice Terraces Movement Incorporated. Their activities will include planting of traditional varieties of rice at the IPED Center area, the indigenous peoples community. Rice rituals performed in all agricultural cycles of the Ifugao people. Building of the balay or balay, kung sa Bisaya pa, or Ifugao traditional house. There will also be a video lecture documentary on Hongan de Pague. The project coordinator for this is Sir Marlon Martin, President, Save the Rice Terraces Movement Incorporated. Sir Marlon, please acknowledge. Good morning. This we're trying to save one of the 8 wonders of the world in here. We would like to thank Sir Marlon and his group for that. This one, Gulayan para sa Pamayanang Kalinangan. Host, Sustainable Sagada and Sagada Innkeepers and Hostel Association Incorporated, SOHA. Ito naman yung mga may-ari, no, ng mga inn at mga hotel doon. Ang activities ay vegetable gardening by the members of SOHA in Sagada. This place is actually part of history already. Workshop on vegetable and fruit pickling production, bottling, labeling, and marketing of products in different areas in Metro Manila, led by Sustainable, I cannot see, movement. The project coordinator for this is Miss Maria Patricia Tracy Santiago, founder of Sustainable Sagada Movement Incorporated. That's the Gulayan para sa Pamayanang Kalinangan. Morning, Miss Tracy. We also have the Laing at Pinangat project. Dami natin proyekto, sample lahat ito, no? This will be run across the country. This will be hosted by the Musikahan Foundation with friends from Naga City and is this Bicol University. The activities will include planting of taro as part of edible landscaping project in Naga. That's in Bicol region. Workshop on basic manufacturing practices, food safety, labeling, and packaging. Next will be the marketing of Laing and Pinangat at the different areas in Metro Manila. And the project coordinator of the Laing at Pinangat project is Dr. Shirley Maloles, professor of Bicol University, in cooperation with the various offices in Naga City, Bicol. Good morning, Dr. Maloles. Next is the artistically sumptuous, the Balag and Tukod cookbook. The host will be the Cultural Center of the Philippines Cultural Outreach Department, kaisa sa Sining Program KSS ng St. Francis Xavier of San Francisco. Minsan sinasabi na ayaw daw nila ng Xavier, gusto nila ng Javier. So, Xavier or Javier, anything goes. Activities. Urban gardening at the different sites in the Philippines. This by members of the Kaisa sa Sining Program of the Cultural Center of the Philippines. Compilation of the different menu of cultural workers featuring a section for the plant-based menu or viands as featured by the Balag and Tukod Gardens. We will also launch the first cooking show of Ma'am Carmencita Bernardo on Artistically Sumptuous. The project coordinator for Artistically Sumptuous, the Balag and Tukod Cookbook, is Sir Lolito Pontillas of the Cultural Center of the Philippines, KSS, St. Francis Xavier College, and Ma'am Carmencita J. Bernardo, Department Manager of the CCP or Cultural Center of the Philippines, Cultural Outreach Department, and Program Head of Kaisa sa Sining Program. Hello, Sir Pontillas and Ma'am Chingay. Magandang
Hello,
umaga po.
Darwin. Hello, Darwin. Hello, everyone.
Next, we are now going, those are the 10 programs that we are going to implement. Some of them have already been implemented. And right now, we would like to give you the schedule of implementation. This project, Balag at Tukod, was conceived last year, 2019, by the members of the Board of Trustees of the TC or the Tagum Council of Women Foundation Incorporated in consultation with various project partners all over the country. The project is expected to be completed in 10 months, so almost a year. Since the NCCA counterpart is given in 3 tranches, these are our gains so far. First, the project in Lanao del Sur has already started last February 26, 2021. The first 55 jackfruit seedlings were already distributed, has already planted. The teachers and the community attended a half-day lecture on culture-based education. This has something to do with the self-learning modules. Next, the construction of the Bianing Food Hub is ongoing. The Bianing project is a food terminal and meal hub where viand cooked by women cooked at homes are displayed. This is actually a container van, which is to be located at the public market. We also have the rice planting of traditional rice variety in Kiangan, Ifugao, that has started in February. That's last month. The initial construction of the valley has already laid down. We're going to start with that. In fact, they've already started right now. And today, the Balag at Tukod at Tambayayong is the opening ceremony with a talk and presentation on edible landscaping together with the Agricultural Training Institute of the Department of Agriculture 12 to be given to us by the speaker, Mr. or Sir Jim Raborar, and to be hosted by the Philippine Women's College of Davao. Okay. Ayan. Kaumpisa pa lang natin ano sa ating balag at tukod pero marami na tayong nagawa sa mga panahong ito na kailangan natin ng pag-asa, kailangan natin ng pagkakaisa at pagtutulungan. We have started but still a long way to go and marami pa tayong mga bubunuing mga dapat gawin para sa ikakaunlad ng bansang Pilipinas at ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino. Muli makikita tayo sa mga darating pang mga panahon at magkakaisa pa rin tayo lahat para sa pag-unlad ng ating bayan. Maraming salamat sa inyo mula sa Tagum City Council of Women Foundation Incorporated at sa tulong ng National Commission on Culture for the Arts. Isang mapayapang umaga sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Dr. Suyat. Indeed, we have so many things to look forward to. Okay, so we would also like to acknowledge the presence of our partners and collaborators from the different major regions from Luzon down to Mindanao who are present and joining us now in this program. All right, so moving on, the National Commission on Culture and the Arts has been the dependable creative task force who actively supported any creative endeavors and initiatives during these difficult times. We indeed felt that they truly had our backs. Let us warmly welcome the person who made this project possible, the hardworking NCCA Executive Director, Dr. Al Ryan Alejandro.
Maayong adlaw sa inyong tanan. I believe that at the heart of Filipino values is the aim to achieve common goods or malasakit among our people. Culture, on the other hand, is a vital part of development as it enables projects that acknowledge and respond to the local context of our communities, both of which are indicated in the Philippine Development Plan. Indeed, culture and values are lenses to promote our being Filipino. The National Commission for Culture and the Arts, through the National Committee on Cultural Education under the Subcommission on Cultural Dissemination, is actively one in fostering these goals, especially in this time of pandemic. Culture and values are also lenses to promote the spirit of Bayanihan. And just like in Bayanihan, it is with great honor to be one with you all in the spirit of togetherness, or tambayayong, as we embark the implementation of this project entitled Balag, Tukod, ug Tambayayong. May the spirit of every balag enable us to dig deeper and further preserve towards attaining a better Philippines. And may the strength of each tukod give us hope for a brighter future for our children's children. May each of the Philippine flora, as the theme suggests, bring us forth towards a united and resilient nation. All this can only be attainable if we are all together, magsama-sama po tayong lahat, magtambayayong tangtangan. In closing, I would like to congratulate the National Commission on Cultural Education for crafting this program. Thank you very much, Tagum City Council of Women Foundation Incorporated, for implementing this program all over the country. And of course, thank you, Philippine Women's College of Davao, for hosting this opening ceremony and the webinar session on edible landscaping in cooperation with the Agriculture Training Institute of the Department of Agriculture. Mula sa NCCA, mayong adlaw, o magtambayayong itang tanan, mga higala. Daghang salamat.
All right. A project, no matter how great it is, will not come into fruition without its workforce and implementation. The Tagum City Council of Women Foundation Incorporated mainstreamed women empowerment economic spheres through various entrepreneurship and skills training and education via Coca-Cola Testa Star program. It transformed ordinary women to entrepreneurs, unskilled individuals to product suppliers and trainers. Through various linkages, both local and international, the foundation continues to extend its services to 17,900 women, not only in Tagum City, but also to other parts of Mindanao. So let us all listen to the message from the chairperson of the Tagum City Council of Women Foundation Incorporated, Ms. Alma Uy.
Mayong adlaw kanatong tanan. I am deeply honored to be involved in a national program that will cut across the archipelago, transcend simple dreams to a tangible reality, and will bring back genuine smiles to Filipinos in spite of the effects of the pandemics. Di Balag, Tukod, ug Tambayayong is a transition of 10 valuable projects all over the country. It chooses various parameters such as multi-sectoral participation, wherein people from all walks of life, regardless of gender, religion, economic status, and diverse interests are binded together to bring hope and inspirations. It also provides capacity, building such as an integration of vegetable gardening and farming, including its medicinal worth, means of livelihood, craftsmanship and culture, and their cultural value into a basic education curriculum through one of the Department of Education delivery of learning modality of self-engaging modules. And this will eventually increase community cooperation with the involvement of various sectors, bringing them together for a common cause. And finally, active participation in the endeavor to promote a sound cultural economy, not only in the countryside, but also in the highly urbanized areas as well. Today, we are very happy for the acceptance of the Philippine Women's College of Davao through Professor Vicente Antonio Y. Pijano III, our Chancellor for the PWC Davao, and his team head by Ms. Emmy Ingles, for taking the role to spearhead the various webinars and trainings relative to edible landscaping and urban gardening, which also include food safety, basic manufacturing practices, and product labeling, packaging, and basic marketing principles. And on behalf of the 17,000 plus women cooperators of the Tagum City Council of Women Foundation Incorporated, all over Mindanao, we wish to express our heartfelt gratitude to our partner agency, the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, headed by our dear friend, Chairman Nick Lisaso, who is also the president of CCP, and to my another dear friend, our fellow Davaoenyo, former Davao City Councilor, and now NCCA Director, Dr. Al Ryan Is Alejandre, for the trust they bestowed on us that we can make a difference to our countrymen, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic. And I would also like to thank the Board of Trustees of the Tagum City Council of Women Foundation and to Dr. Darwin Suyat as our project coordinator on this endeavor, and our TCCFI trustee and chair on education and training. Now we're celebrating the 2021 Women's Month with the theme, Huwana Laban sa Pandemya. Kaya, isang pagpupugay sa mga huwanang lumalaban sa pandemya. Sa kanatong tanan, daghan kaing salamat NCCA and to all our partners. Magtambaya yung tangtanan para sa kaatong kauswagan. Maayong adlaw.
Thank you, Ms. Alma Uy, for sharing your beautiful message. Okay, so we will proceed and watch the video. Right, so once again, please stand by and stay tuned. We will watch a video. This is actually a video of Maan Shua, wherein we are featuring the love for nature.
lantaw-lantawon ang kaanyag sa yutang saad bahan di ugasa sa kalibutan. Padulong sa kahiusahan kay kita gihiusa sa atong kultura, kita gihiusa sa atong gugma, kita gihiusa sa tunay nga kalinaw, sugaton kabaguhan nga kadasig ang hinagiban. Lantaw-lantawon, paminaw-minawon, kadasig ipadayon, aron magmalambuon, magkahiusa. Lantaw-lantawon, paminaw-minawon, kadasig ipadayon, aron magmalambuon, magkahiusa kadabaw nun, isig kami danawon. Sa atong kultura, kita gihiusa sa atong gugma, kita gihiusa sa tunay nga kalinaw, sugaton kabaguhan nga kadasig ang hinagiban. Lantaw-lantawon, paminaw-minawon, kadasig ipadayon, aron magmalambuon, magkahiusa. Lantaw-lantawon, paminaw-minawon, kadasig ipadayon, aron magmalambuon, magkahiusa. Kadasig ipadayon, aron magmalambuon, magkahiusa kadabaw nun, isig kami danawon, magkahiusa kadabaw nun, isig kami danawon.
Alright, okay. The video that you just watched is actually the music theme of the Tambayayong the Bawenyo of the PWC. This is actually the virtual festival that has been started last year and then launched this March. No, so this is just to show how culturally united we are. So okay, so to introduce our next speaker this morning on edible landscaping, let us welcome the unstoppable, the hardworking figure from the Philippine Women's College of Davao, who leads the Center for Innovation and Social Ventures Department. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Emmy L. Ingles.
Hello, may buntag sa ato ang tanan, Madayaw from Davao. We've been seeing a lot of our participants coming from all over the country. As we have been informed, we have participants here from Luzon down to Mindanao and even, of course, from San Francisco, USA. So Madayaw, nabuntag sa inyong tananggikan diri sa Davao. Our speaker this morning wears a number of hats. For one, he is a proud alumnus of PWC of Davao, having graduated from our Bachelor of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management program in 2002. As a student in PWC, he was an active Teatro de Bawenio member. Thus, to this day, he continues to be active in community theater in his hometown in Coronadal as a playwright, stage director, dramaturge of Apat sa Taglamig Theater Production. For today's webinar, our speaker carries through another facet of his professional career. More than just a plantito, our speaker is also nationally certified for food processing, cookery, and dressmaking. He is also the dormitory manager and training facilitator of Region 12's Agricultural Training Institute. He is also a food safety focal person, gender and development assistant focal person, a part-time instructor at the College of Education and College of Business Administration, teaching home economics and practical arts and HRM subjects for the past 14 years at the Notre Dame of Marble University. Our speaker this morning is also a food and beverage service consultant, a resource speaker for 17 years in food-related industries and services, and of course, a consultant of edible and ornamental landscaping. So this morning, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Jim Catedrilia Raborar. Sir Jim, I think you're unmute. Kindly unmute your microphone. Thank you.
Isang pagbati po sa lahat ng community ng PWC at sa mga sumusunod na mga viewers natin sa palihan ito. Magandang umaga po and Happy International Women's Month. Hello po, narinig ako? Okay.
Yes, sir. We can hear you po loud and clear.
Okay. Simulan na po buwan natin ang palihan. Sige po. Magandang umaga po sa lahat-lahat at ang task na ibinigay sa akin ngayon ay ang ibigay sa inyo ang edible landscaping. Bago natin simulan ng edible landscaping ay sundan muna natin ang proseso kung paano ginagawa ang isang landscape, tawag ng landscape. Shall I share the screen now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead po.
Yan po. Klaro po ba?
Yes, sir.
Pag-usapan po natin ang landscaping and garden concept. Bago natin simulan ang edible landscaping ay kinuha po natin ang proseso ng pagla-landscape sa originally from the landscaping po ng ornamental. So, graduate po ako ng isang padihan from Shirley Sanders, no? Yung president natin sa Landscaping Association of the Philippines. Sa kanya po natin nakuha yung konsepto ng garden concept at nagkaroon din tayo ng palihan sa edible landscaping through the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. So dalawa pong slides natin ngayon. Una po ay ang landscaping and garden concept at yung pangalawa naman po ay ang edible landscaping. Ayan. Ang picture po nakikita niyo sa screen ay isang sample po ng landscaping, no? Kung saan ang ating bahagi po ng landscaping ang building sa likod. Kung mapapansin ninyo, yung building po sa likod ay may isang espasyo dyan kung saan kasama po siya sa landscaping na tinatawag. Hindi lamang po mga tanim o halaman ang napapaloob sa landscaping, maging po ang mga structures katulad ng buildings, pools, etc. Katulad ng isang sample na ito, ang pond po at ang building sa likod o yung bahay sa likod ay bahagi po ng tinatawag nating landscaping. So, okay po ba sa atin na yung landscaping dapat po ay merong tinatawag na hardscape at saka softscape. Pag sinabing softscape, ito po yung mga halaman. At yung hardscape po natin, ito po yung ating mga buildings, ponds, no? Yung mga man-made na mga sources natin. Ayan po sila. Bago natin simulan muna natin ang tinatawag na garden. A garden is a collection of flowers, ornamentals, vegetations, or fruits in a piece of ground. So, kapag meron po tayong collection ng flowers or ornamentals sa mga plantitas natin, or let's say vegetable or fruits in a piece of ground, tawag natin doon ay garden. So, it's a collection of flowers, ornamentals, etc. So, yan po yung garden. While landscaping is the relationship of soil and plants with aesthetic value. So, ngayon, kami sa Department of Agriculture, Agricultural Training Institute, mas ninanais naming magkaroon ng landscaping into edible landscaping. Kumbaga, gamit yung mga edible plants natin, mas maiging edible yung gagamitin nating pang landscape, no? Pero i-discuss natin mamaya yung edible landscaping. So pag sinabing relationship of soil and plants with aesthetic value, meaning pag sinabing aesthetic value, ang ibig sabihin po noon, may kagandahan. So dapat na i-plaster natin yung mga halaman natin na maganda po sa paningin ng lahat-lahat. So yan po yung landscaping itong tawag. Katulad sa picture na ito, makikita ninyo may mga sources tayo like stones, rock formation, at saka yung pagkaka-elevate ng mga tanim. Ang tawag po diyan ay landscaping. So parts of the landscape. So may tinatawag tayong roofings, wallings, and floorings. So pag sinabi nating roofing or ceiling, ito sila yung mga samples nito ay yung mga palm trees, yung mga malaking kahoy. While wallings naman, ang tawag natin dito, yung mga shrubberies natin. So yung mga shrubs natin ay ranges from small, medium, large, no? Yung mga shrubs natin. Sila yung mga nagsisilbing wallings ng ating landscape. At finally, meron tayong tinatawag na flooring or ground cover. Ito yung mga 1 foot and below na mga halaman, no? Mga 1 foot and below na halaman like Bermuda grass, Carabao grass, peanut grass, etc. So yan sila yung tinatawag nating flooring or ground cover. So dapat sa isang landscape, ang tatlong bahagi po ng landscape ay kasama po sa isang landscape dapat. Roofing, walling, and flooring. So, isa-isahin po natin. Ito po yung mga roofings na tatawag natin. Yung mga punong kahoy, yung mga palm trees, yan po sila yung tatawag ng roofings or ceilings. No? Wallings naman may vary into various sizes like small, medium, large na mga shrubs natin. So, sila po yung nagsisilbing wall sa ating landscape. And lastly, our flooring or ground cover, no? So katulad dito, this is peanut grass, ano? Lahat po ng 1 foot and below na mga halaman ay kinukonsider po nating flooring or ground cover. So isang landscape po ay napapaloob ang tatlo, merong roofing, wallings, and ground cover. The two main body of the landscape are the softscape and the hardscape. So we have the softscape here. Lahat po ng mga planting materials natin, ang tawag natin doon ay softscape. So lahat ng halaman, ang tawag sa kanila ay softscape. Pag sinabi naman pong hardscape, ito po yung mga all non-living things, no? Mga accessories ng ating landscape, katulad lamang ng mga, let's say, pond, yung mga fountain natin, yung mga parang salaset natin, no? Yan sila ay tinatawag na hardscape, no? Ito yung mga palamuti or mga swing, yung katulad ng mga swings, let's say duyan, tawag nito, yung mga siso, pwede silang magiging hardscape ng inyong landscape. So dapat po paggawa ng landscape, naandyan po dapat talaga yung softscape at saka yung mga hardscape natin. So some basic rules, no, sa ating landscaping. Sabi dito, ornamental plants, flowering plants must not be mixed with edible plants. So ano po yung mga edible plants na tinatawag natin? Edible plants, normally ito yung mga nakakain per se, no? Ito yung mga plants na katulad ng mga gulay natin, at hindi lamang po gulay natin, pwede po silang yung mga medicinal plants, no? Kasama po dito sa edible plants natin yung mga medicinal plants natin. Only insect repellent plant is allowed in the edible landscaping. So kapag po gumagawa tayo ng edible landscaping, particularly mga gulay, only insect repellent plant is allowed. Yun po bang mga insect repellent plant like marigold, yung tanglad natin, yun na sila ang pwedeng ihalo sa ating edible landscaping. Fruit trees must not be mixed with ornamental plants and flowering plants. Ang nangyayari kasi sa atin, yung mga fruit trees natin, sa ilalim ng fruit trees natin, meron pang mga may mga flowering plants pa tayo, no, na nilalagay. Yung bahay natin, kapag meron na pong mga fruit trees na available surrounding, at syempre ayaw nating putulin and all para sa ating landscaping, mangyaring wag nang putulin, wag nang putulin yung mga fruit trees natin. Pero po, pag tayo ay nagkakandak ng landscaping talaga at nagpapabayad or let's say talagang kinukomisyon natin yung pag-landscape, fruit trees must not be mixed with ornamental plants. Soil must be fully covered with ground cover. So dapat po wala pong nakatihayang mga lupa, no, sa ating landscaping. Dapat po sila po ay fully covered with our ground cover. So mangyari pong talagang naka-cover siya ng mga ground cover natin. Kung hindi man, pwede pong gawan ng paraan through our hardscape like stones, pebbles, na makover yung mga part na nakausli yung ating mga lupa. So bago natin simulan ang landscaping, kailangan po nating maintindihan yung 5 basic garden concept. Dahil dito po dito po nagmula ang mga disenyo ng landscaping natin. So dapat itong 5 basic garden concept natin ay memorize natin, no, by heart, no, dahil dito po natin kinoconnect, no, kung paano tayo magsimula ng isang landscaping. So we have tropical garden, Zen or Japanese garden, formal or English garden, Mediterranean garden, at aquatic garden. So isa-isahin po nating alamin ang bawat isa. Tropical garden, no? It's a garden concept which allows plants to grow fully, wildly, freely, and with less maintenance. So ibig sabihin nito, tatanim-tanim ka lang ng mga ng mga halaman, then let it grow, let it grow, let it grow. Katulad ng picture na ito, iyan po sila ay mga tropical plants, no? Yung mga plants na na tumutubo sa tropical places, no, like the Philippines, nasa tropical country tayo. So ito po yung mga halaman na talagang nasa tropical countries na makikita, no. So yan po sila, pag tinanim natin, we don't need to trim them, no. We don't need to cut them, to trim them. Let it grow, no. They grow fully and widely. Katulad lamang nito mga gabi-gabi, no, yung mga bromeliads natin, we don't cut them naman normally, di ba? So ang pangit naman nun pag kinakat natin. So pagtanim lang, let them grow, no? So yun yung mga tatawag nating tropical garden. So yan po, another sample is this one. So meron din siyang water element. Okay, lahat po ng halaman na nakikita niyo sa picture na ito ay part po ng tropical garden. Ayan. So this one is an example of a tropical garden. Ayan. Example po ng tropical garden natin. The next one is Zen or Japanese garden. So a garden concept originates in Japan and it uses mostly shades of green in the landscape, no? Minimalist. They come with rock formation and stone formation and sometimes a well. No, sample, yan po. Imagine landscape pala ito, no? So, ayan, shades of green in the landscape. Panay mostly green lang, no, ng mga halaman ang nandiyan. Pwede maglagay ng kulay or colored plants natin, pero minimal lang po. So, they come normally with stone and rock formation. Yan po ang tawag na Zen or Japanese garden. Zen means less is more, no? Less is beautiful. Sample here, we have the sample from Japanese Hall and Bonsai Garden of the Farm at Carpenter Hill dito sa South Cotabato. So kung makita po ninyo yung garden nila, they are mostly shades of green lang po in the landscape. Kasama po ang pagtanim ng bonsai, no? Yun po ay bahagi din ng Zen or Japanese garden. So they come with the water element also and a rock formation. So another sample of Zen or Japanese garden. This one may kulay na konti but minimalist lang po. So mostly shades of green in the landscape and a stone and rock formation. Ito po ay isang sample din ng Zen or Japanese garden. Meron siyang sakura or cherry blossom. Meron din po siyang bougainvillea on the other side. And mostly greens na lahat-lahat. So, yung ginamit niyang hardscape dito ay yung tulay, ano? And then, lahat-lahat sa palibot ay softscape na. Ayan, a well, no? Yung mga sa local term natin is tabay or bubon, no? So we have a well at the center. So that's a sample of Zen or Japanese garden. This one, ang kanyang ginamit na hardscape ay mga tulay and then napalibutan siya ng softscape, no? So mostly shades of green. The third one is formal or English garden concept. So it's a concept which strictly follows angular forms and figures created through trimming and shaping of the plants in the landscape. High in maintenance. Why? It's because every other 2 weeks or let's say every month, you have to trim down, no, the plants. You have to reshape it. You have to maintain the shape of the icon na pina-follow natin, no? So, samples nito ay ito. So, kung mapapansin niyo ang English or garden concept, English garden concept ay nagsimula po sa England, no? Sa harapan ng mga palasyo sa Inglaterra, kung mapapansin niyo, naka-form po, naka-shape po sila, naka-trim down yung mga plants po natin. Katulad ng sa picture na nakita nyo ngayon, we have parang maze ang dating, ano. So yan po sila, kapag ganyan po yung tipo ng ating garden sa bahay natin, we call them formal or English garden. Ayan, ito English or formal garden. So lahat-lahat naka-trim down sila. Okay, so kailangan every other 2 weeks or every month, kailangan pong naka-maintain yung shape ng ating mga halaman. Even yung mga katulad dito, pabilog, ano, trim down sila into round na shape, tupyari ang tawag natin yan. So, yan din po ay sample ng formal or English garden. The next one is Mediterranean garden concept. So, Mediterranean Sea is located between between Africa and Europe, no? The continents of Africa and Europe. So, nandun po yung Mediterranean Sea. So, bakit po siya tinawag na Mediterranean garden? Dahil kung mapapansin po ninyo, ang palibot po ng Mediterranean Sea ay medyo hilly, no, or medyo mabundok-bundok. So, ito po yung mga garden na hindi nakikita from the distance kung hindi mo siya iaangat, no. So it's a garden concept which allows trellis and laddering lines so that plants can be seen from the distance. So plants are grown in huge earthen pot, no? Jars and terracotta. So kapag po kayo ay nagtatanim sa mga earthen pot or mga paso, no, or jars or any terracotta, ang tawag po noon ay Mediterranean garden concept. So it allows, no, plants to grow in trellis, no? May mga laddering lines tayong nilalagay like this, no? So kung mapapansin niyo sa picture na ito ay naandyan po nakaangat sa trellis ang mga halaman nila. Ayan, may mga trellis pong nakalagay at yung iba ay nasa mga malalaking paso, no? Doon po tinatanim yung mga halaman natin. So kapag tayo po ay nakapaso-paso ang mga tanim natin sa ating mga bahay, ang tawag po noon ay Mediterranean garden concept. Ayan po, lalo-lalo na sa mga subdivisions, kung mapapansin natin, wala ng area na pagtataniman yung sa grounds nila. So ang nangyayari ay naglalagay tayo ng mga halaman sa paso. And for some, inaangat natin through trellis and laddering lines. Like this, that's sample of the Mediterranean garden. Kung mapapansin ninyo, ang puno pong ito ay tinatawag na traveler's palm. Yung traveler's palm po ay meron po siyang dahon na parang dahon ng saging at meron po siyang puno na parang puno ng niyog. No, yan po ay isang sample ng mga halaman na nakikita sa Mediterranean garden na landscape. Even itong mga mga palms na katulad dito, yan po sila example ng Mediterranean plants, no? Lahat-lahat po ng plants na may mga tinik, no, katulad ng euphorbia, bougainvillea, sila po ay sample ng Mediterranean plants, no? Lahat po ng family ng pinya, family ng cactus, yan po sila ay mga Mediterranean plant. Katulad ng sa harap ng bahay ng isang bahay sa isang subdivision, kung mapapansin ninyo, may mga trellis, at saka nakatanim sa mga malaking paso. Ang tawag po natin doon ay Mediterranean garden or naka-landscape siya ng Mediterranean garden concept. Trellis like this. Ito ay kuha po sa isang resort, no, dito sa The Farm at Carpenter Hill, dito sa Coronadal. Kung mapapansin ninyo, ang landscape na ito ay meron po siyang traveler's palm sa bandang likod na nagsiserve ng kanyang roofings or ceiling. And then nagkaroon din siya ng trellis para sa kanyang mga vines at ang kanyang ground cover, instead na mga plants ang nilagay niya, naglagay po siya ng mga garden pavers. Katulad ng mga paver na nakikita niyo sa picture, yan po sila yung ground cover ng landscape na ito. So ang landscape na ito ay isang sample ng Mediterranean garden concept. Sa picture na ito ay binabahagi ko lang na kapag po tayo ay nagla-landscape ng isang area, katulad dito may isang punong kahoy, wag po nating lagyan masyado ng maraming halaman ang punong kahoy, no? So pwede pong isang variety lang ng tanim ang pwedeng ilalagay o hangga't dalawa, at wag po nating punuin yung punong kahoy ng mga halaman. Bagamat gusto nating lagyan ng mga plants ang ating mga punong kahoy, okay lamang po, pero huwag po nating punuin, no? So dapat po nakakahinga po yung punong kahoy. Ito po ay sample ng pavers, no? Pag naglalagay tayo ng pavers sa ating landscape, so dapat po wala pong concrete sa ibaba. So dapat po ay nakalibing lamang yung mga pavers na yan para po absorb siya ng tubig. Lastly is the aquatic garden concept. So it's a garden concept basically found in the body of water such as ponds, lakes, and man-made streams. So basically, sa tubig po na nakikita yung mga halaman natin. Like this, no? I took this one in Bali, Indonesia. So kung mapapansin niyo, ang Bali, Indonesia ay mahilig sa mga pond, no? Mahilig sila sa mga water element. So kailangan po ang tanim ay nasa tubig at nabubuhay sila sa tubig. So may tinatawag tayong mga aquatic plants actually. So sa picture na ito, makikita ninyo yung mga aquatic plants natin. Yung pangalawang picture na ito po sabi nila, "Sir, this is an example of an aquatic garden." Naniniwala naman ako na aquatic plant ang nilagay, kaso nga lang nawala yung water. So dapat yung water element nakikita pa rin. So kapag tayo po ay nagkakaroon ng concept na aquatic garden sa ating landscape, dapat po nakikita po talaga yung tubig. Okay, yun ang number 1 po kasi. So dito siguro i-edit lang natin, tanggalan siya ng halaman para po makita yung water element niya. So that's an aquatic garden. Another sample, yan po ay isang sample ng aquatic garden. Maging ito ay isang sample din ng aquatic garden. Ayan. Isang pocket garden kung saan nailapag din siya sa isang aquatic garden. Okay. So points to consider in the landscape designing, number 1 is the space. So gaano ba kalawak yung pagtataniman ng mga halaman, no? Is it a courtyard, an hectare of land, a pocket garden, or a roadside no? So yan po ang mga i-consider natin kapag nagla-landscape tayo, gaano ba kalawak yung space natin. Dahil kapag courtyard po ang paglalagyan or an hectare of land ang paglalagyan ng landscape, i-consider din po natin yung height ng mga halaman natin, no? So another sample is a pocket garden. So a pocket garden is actually a garden next to your room, no? Or sa isang sulok ng bahay ninyo, next to it is a pocket garden. So yan po, dapat alamin natin kung ano po yung area na napagtataniman dahil po malalaman din po natin kung ano yung mga sizes ng halaman ang dapat ilalagay. So since pocket garden lang siya, of course, yung mga minimal or mga maliliit lang na mga halaman ang ilalagay. Huwag naman po tayo maglagay ng mga malalaking punong kahoy sa pocket garden natin. Ayan. Another one is our roadside landscape, no? Katulad lamang nito, sa isang roadside makikita yung halaman from one end to the other end na nakatanim, no? Instead of having it straight line, so ang ginawa is medyo nag-curve ang sistema ng halaman. Okay. Mangyari pong lagyan po ng disenyo ang roadside ng pagka-landscape natin upang po yung mga nagda-drive ng kanilang mga vehicles ay hindi po naaantok, no? Hindi po boring yung ating roadside landscape. So dapat po interesting po sa mata dapat yung mga designs natin sa roadside, no? This is to allow our yung mga nagbabiyahe natin na hindi po sila tawag nito yung hindi malungkot, dapat buhay na buhay yung landscape ng ating roadside. Okay. Another point to consider in landscape designing, next is the line, no? So yung line pala natin ay may mga ibig sabihin pala yung mga lines natin. Like curved lines, straight lines, vertical lines, horizontal lines, square and rectangle, and circle and curve. Yan po yung mga meaning nila. So curved lines have more natural feelings. Straight lines, medyo crease sila, stiff and normal. Sa vertical lines naman, nagigib sila ng strength, no? Horizontal lines give permanence and flow. Square and rectangle It shows formality, and circle and curve ay informal naman sila. It says here that line leads the eye from one area of the landscape to another, unifying the design in the space. Medyo nosebleed po yung definition na yan. Pipicture po natin. Katulad lamang ng sample na ito. Ano nakikita nating lines? So may mga lines tayong nakikita katulad ng curve lines, no? So this is a curve line, no? The other one is a straight line. So mas interesting ang curve line than the straight line. So ito ay straight lamang from one end to the other end na naka-straight lang siya. So medyo boring tingnan. Than having this one na medyo curvular siya. So mas may interest, no? Mas may dating yung ating landscape. Next is vertical line. Vertical line, best po ito silang nakalagay sa mga parking areas natin, no? Kung saan po tayo nagpa-park ng ating mga vehicle. So dapat po mostly vertical lines. Katulad dito, vertical lines yan sila. This is horizontal line. This is circular. So nakita yung base niya, that's circular. And those are various lines, no? So we have curvular lines, we have straight lines, vertical and horizontal. So ito po yung iba't ibang uri ng mga linya natin. So we have to consider this in designing the landscape. So please design your landscape na medyo may variety in lines. I took this one in Nusa Dua, no, sa Bali, Indonesia. So kung mapapansin niyo, kung babalikan natin yung tinatawag nating roofings kanina, ito sila ang mga roofings, yung mga palms na likod, no? Then we have wallings here. Yan yung mga wallings natin. At ito yung mga ground cover natin. So, ang nilagay niya sa kanyang landscape, instead of having the ground cover one straight lang, so nagkaroon siya ng pa-curve, no? Nagkaroon siya ng curve na mga lines just to add the looks, no? At saka flavor doon sa ating landscape na hindi siya masyadong stiff tingnan. So, kung mapapansin, ang landscaping ay nandyan talaga yung tatlong bahagi ng landscape. The roofings, wallings, and the ground cover. The next one is square and rectangle. So pag tinawag natin square and rectangle, no, mostly yung mga base natin naka-rectangle size sila, no? So nakalagay na ganyan. So to recap, ang mga lines natin ay may mga meanings po. Yan po yung mga meanings nila. So you can have it curved, straight, vertical, horizontal, square, and circle. So kapag nag-landscape po tayo, please consider the following. The next to consider is the form. So aral-aral din tayo minsan na kapag nagtanim tayo, kailangan din po nating alamin kung ano po yung growth nila, no? Kapag lumaki na yung plants, gaano po sila kalawak, kahaba, kanipis, let's say like that. So please consider the form. The form is the dimensional shape of the landscape, no? Yan po silang tinatawag na form. Plants may be upright, spreading, arcing, and weeping, rounded, columnar, pyramidal, and irregular form. So, nagtanim ka ng pine tree, akala mo yung pine tree gagapang, yun pala ay tatayo. Nagtanim ka nga ng kamote tops, akala mo yung kamote tops tatayo, yun pala gagapang siya. So, please aralin po natin ang growth ng ating mga plants, kung ano po yung forma nila pag nasa full bloom na sila. So, kasi may nagla-landscape minsan, na hindi nila inaral yung form. So, ang nangyayari, tumatabon yung isang plant sa isang plant. So, kailangan po, dapat nakikita po lahat-lahat. Another point to consider in the landscape designing is the vantage point. Saan nyo ba gustong makita ang ating mga pananim? No, it's from the street, from inside the house ba? From a view on the yard or an outdoor room? Or a living space you will see and enjoy. So, depende po sa atin. Kung ayaw po natin yung mga kapitbahay natin, so normally, nagla-landscape tayo sa side ng ating tahanan para po hindi natin makita yung mga kapitbahay natin. Joke lang. So, pero normally ganun naman nangyayari ano. So pag ayaw may gusto nating uh, i-hide yung isang area, normally we put landscape on it, no, para hindi po natin nakikita yung mga ayaw natin makita. So tawag natin doon vantage point. So normally sa mga tahanan natin, normal na ginagawa natin, normally kung saan natin gustong makita yung mga halaman natin, doon po natin puniposition yung mga halaman natin. So that's called vantage point. So things like here, we have vantage point from inside the room, no? Next to consider or sa basic principles ng landscaping naman, kailangan po nating aralin ang unity. So we have pictures here. So we have picture number 1, katulad nito, unity, anong unison meron sila. So pareha silang round, pareha ang mga shape nila, pareha rin yung height nila. So may unison. So and another sample here, the first picture here, yung first 5 meters perhaps, inulit nilang sa second 5 meters. Pwedeng ganon. If you are to landscape, let's say a kilometer stretch ng isang roadside, so mangyaring gamitin itong estilong ito. Let's say first 5 meters, ito yung design. Next 5 meters, uulitin nyo ulit yung design. So things like that. And so on and so forth. So ito po yung mga samples na pwede nating gawan ng gamitan ng kung pagsundan kumbaga ng mga samples natin pag nagla-landscape tayo. Next is the balance, no? So we consider balance, no? Normally ang pinaka-basic na balance na nakikita natin ito yung symmetrical balance. No, pag nagtanim tayo ng kamatis sa kabilang side, may kamatis din sa kabilang side. Normally ang tawag natin noon when we divide it, at pareho lang nakikita natin both sides, right and left, we call it symmetrical balance or symmetry, no? The other side naman is asymmetrical balance. Pag sinabing asymmetrical balance, on one side maybe bigger plants, on the other side small plants lang sila pero maramihan. So tawag natin doon asymmetrical balance. So balance is the visual stability of the design. So please consider also balance in doing the landscape. Next is scale and proportion. Scale and proportion derive from the size of the relationship between the components of space and the design it occupies. So sample number 1, picture number 1. Excuse me. So picture number 1, normally, kung ito yung house natin, sabi sa landscape, ang house is the focus of the landscape. Hindi po dapat natatabunan ang bahay ng landscape natin. Bagamat dapat ang bahay ay nagiging focus, nagiging focal point ng entire landscape. So kung ito yung bahay mo, normally ang gagamitin mong puno or yung halaman ay ito rather than this one. Because this one may may tabon your bahay, no? So kung yung mga bahay natin ay may mga existing trees na or mga punong kahoy na sa inyong paligid at malalaki na at masyadong natatabunan na yung bahay natin, normally wala naman tayong magagawa doon dahil nandun na yung punong kahoy. So sayang naman kung putulin. So trim down na lang siguro yung other branches niya para po nakikita po yung bahay. Pero sa puntong ito, pag kayo nagla-landscape pa lamang, dapat po ang gagamiting punong kahoy ay medyo maliit than sa bahay ninyo. So dapat po nakikita po talaga yung bahay ninyo. Unless na lang you wanted to hide your home, kaya siguro nilagyan mo ng malaking punong kahoy. So depende. Pero sa balance, sa scale and proportion, ito po yung gagamitin natin. So same with sa mga parks, no? We wanted na yung mga tao sa parks natin ay nagkikita-kita. So mas maigi itong design na ito sa left side than itong design na sa right side. Dahil itong sa right side, malaking punong kahoy, merong pang pader sa isang side, ay hindi na po kayo nagkikita-kita. So mas best pong ang park ay nagkikita-kita yung mga tao sa palibot, kaya po pipiliin po natin itong nasa left side na picture. Consider also the variety of color, texture, shapes, and forms of your plants. No? Just like here, sa puntong ito, nakikita po natin na may variation ng kulay like violet, gold, and green. No? So things like that. And even the paint of our structure sa likod ay orange. So nagkakaroon po ng variety in color. Even texture, no? May mga magagaspang na dahon, may mga dahon na maninipis, tawag ito, yung mga fine na dahon. So, you can have variations of that, no? Even shapes. May mga shapes na patulis, pabilog, pa-heart shape, etc. So, those are variety in color, texture, shapes, and forms. Then we proceed into procedure in the landscaping. So when we do landscaping, first is we have to observe the sun orientation. So kapag po yung area natin ay wala po, hindi po siya na-visit ng sun or ng araw, wag na pong magtanim, wag na pong mag-landscape dahil po mas napaka-importanting bahagi po ng pagtatanim ang rays ng ating sun, no? So, although may mga areas naman na yung sun orientation niya ay during high noon lang nagkakaroon ng sinag yung area, so okay naman 'yon. So, ang importante nasisinagan po ng araw ang ating landscape area. Next is observe the existing native soil. So, alamin niyo dapat yung mga native soil natin. Ito ba ay loamy, sandy, medyo mabato, etc. So, dapat po alamin po natin yung native soil na pagtataniman. Observe the terrain, observe the surroundings, take note of the existing materials, no? Structures such as existing trees, big boulders, na naka-embed doon sa isang lugar. So, dapat po, example po ng aming yung speaker namin last time, nag-sample nito na yung isang area daw ay merong parang libingan ng kanilang mga parents, no, yung area nila. So meaning may existing na na parang pansyon sa center ng place, no. At sabi ng landscaper na tatanggalin daw yung pansyon. Sabi niya, no. Kaya ako ito pina-landscape dahil gusto kong i-highlight yung pansyon ng aking mga parents. So things like that, no. So please you verify you conduct interview also, no, sa ating mga client bago i-start yung landscape natin. Then ito ang pinaka-importante, verify the total area to be landscape. Dahil po per square meter po yung bayaran, no? Paano ba tayo nagkakaroon ng tawag ito, pag nagnegosyo tayo ng landscaping ay mini-measure po natin yung total area ng pagla-landscapean natin. So, ang landscaping ay may tinatawag tayong first class at saka third class. Pag sinabing first class, meaning first class yung mga tanim, medyo mahal. Pag sinabing third class, very common yung mga halaman na nilagay. Example, sa first class, you have, let's say, sa roofings natin, let's say you have red palm or blue palm. Yun na yung mga yan yung mga first class na mga halaman. Sa third class naman, you can have ipil-ipil or let's say talisay. Yun naman yung mga third class na mga roofings natin. So, it depends kung ano po yung class na landscape na. Class A or Class C. Dahil po, meron pong amount bawat square meter ang class, no? Pag sinabing Class A per square meter, nasa 6,500 po yung singilan natin. So, ibig sabihin, per square meter, ang sinisingil po natin sa Class A ay 6,500. Sa Class C naman, ang singilan po natin ay nasa 4,000. So, yun po yung Class C. So, Class C is 4,000 to 4,500. Sa Class A naman po, 6,000 to 6,500. Tayo po ang, sa atin po manggagaling ang bulaklak. Sa atin po manggagaling halaman. And we have to, tayo po ang mamumuno o mamamahala ng ating landscape sa loob po ng 6 months. So in 6 months time, pag kayo ay namatayan ng mga halaman doon, let's say in 3 months time, namatayan ka ng isang palmera na 6-footed na palmera, dapat mo siyang balikan ng 6-footed na palmera pag namatay siya within the range ng 6 months. Pero pag namatay yung palmera, let's say, after 8 months namatay yung palmera na i-replenish mo doon, normally, babayaran po ng ating kliyente. Pero po, pag nasa loob ng 6 months time, tayo po ang magre-replenish noon for free pa rin. So, yan po yung bayaran, no, sa landscaping natin. Pero dito sa amin, dito let's say sa South Cotabato or sa part ng General Santos City, normally ang bayaran ng landscape doon ay yung pakyawan, no? Pakyaw-pakyaw sila. So, yun pala, meron pala tayong pina-follow talaga sa Landscaping Association of the Philippines na Class A and Class C, na pag Class A, nasa 6,500 po per square meter at sa Class C, nasa 4,000 po per square meter. So, kayo po, kung kayo mag-venture ng landscaping, yun po ang existing na taripa ng ating landscape. Okay? So, yan po yung procedure in our landscaping. Pag may mga questions po, katanungan, nais kong i-answer yan, mamaya pwede sa chat box at i-answer po natin right after my presentation. So, again, to recap, yung ating landscape po ay merong roofings, wallings, and flooring. So, these are just samples, ano? So, like this, meron siyang roofing, wallings, and ground cover. So, yung ground cover niya ay mostly mga damo. Ito. So, ang comment ko lang dito ay medyo hindi po masyadong na trim yung mga halaman natin, kaya masyado siyang medyo magulo ang dating na ating landscape. This one is an example of an English garden or formal garden. This one also mostly formal garden dahil po nakatrim yung mga halaman. Ang comment ko lang nito ay medyo sabog po yung pagka-layout ng ating mga halaman dahil po yung colors nila nagpa-flash, no? Meaning nagkakaroon ng spotly effect yung ating garden. So tama naman, meron naman siyang roofings, wallings, and ground cover. Bangabat lamang yung mga colors na nakalapag sa landscape natin ay medyo spotly effect ang dating. So the rule in doing the landscape, group them together. So of the same shade, group them together. Shades of orange to red of the same sa isang side sila. Sa isang side naman yung shades of green, sa isang side naman yung shades of blue, ganon. So dapat po yung pag-harmonize ng color, dapat po naka-grouping sila according to their colors, ano, para po hindi to prevent spotly effect. Like this, sample po ito ng isang bahay kung saan na-highlight pa rin yung bahay. So meaning, yung mga tanim niya is lower than the bahay, ano. So yung mga tanim sa paligid ay sakto lang na nakikita pa rin yung bahay. So importante, nakikita yung main focus ng isang landscape. The main focus of the landscape here is actually the house. So this is an example of a formal garden or English garden. Another English garden, but still nakafocus pa rin yung bahay natin. So when we do landscape, bahay ang pinaka-focus natin. Okay. Yeah. Kapag yung bahay natin ay merong mga, let's say, yung mga gutter, refrain from putting hanging plants or yung mga nakapaso na mga tanim na nakalagay sa gutter. Very simple lang. Masisira yung bahay natin, masisira yung ating mga gutter, no? So please refrain from putting hanging plants sa ating mga gutter. Okay, samples here. Okay, not to mention us, ha? Ayun, yung mga tanim na sa likuran. Okay, normally season per season tini-change yan ng, I guess nasa sa Seoul, South Korea ito. Napansin namin na yung mga tanim dito ay nakabag, no? Nakalagay sa isang bag, no? Sa parang yung black bag na ano. So, season per season, chini-change nila yung kanilang halaman sa landscape nila. So, depende. So, again, the building is the main focal point. Our landscape, like our roofings, and then wallings and ground cover, ay dapat po secondary lang po sa ating building. When you put some ground cover sa ating areas like this, may water element tayo, dapat po yung ground cover should touch the water. Hindi po pwedeng ang ground cover hanggang taas lamang, dapat po nagta-touch po siya hanggang water. So it covers everything para po ma-cover po natin yung part ng soil or land na piece. Okay, let's put it into miniature. No? Kapag nagkakaroon tayo ng miniature, ang dish garden na tinatawag natin, it's still a landscape. No? Yung dish gardening natin is also called a landscape. Kaso nga lang, sa dish lang natin nilalagay. So katulad ng isang dish garden na ito, it follows pa rin. Meron siyang ceiling or roofing, wallings, and the ground cover. So like here, meron din siyang hardscape at saka may mga softscape siya. So yung hardscape dito ay yung tulay and then the pebbles. Then ang softscape natin, ito yung ating mga halaman. So still a landscape within a dish. This one is taken there, in Davao, no? Kinuna namin ng picture ito. Ito ay best sample na isang landscape also. So may roofings, may wallings, and ground cover. So, walang lupang nakausli. So lahat-lahat siya ay fully covered siya ng ground cover natin through hardscape or softscape. Like this one, yung kanyang hardscape na ginawa ay mga bamboos. Ito, medyo meron lang akong comment dito na side. Kasi sa isang dish garden o isang landscape area natin, dapat po mangyaring isa lamang ang focal point. So dito na side, medyo naguguluhan ako. It's either ang gate, ang statue or fountain ba ito, ang bench ba, or ang mga flowers sa likuran. So medyo naguluhan ako sa focal point niya. But this is actually a dish garden also. And this one also, ito medyo may problema lang din ako sa form ng mga halaman dahil in 2 weeks time or 3 weeks time yung mga ibang halaman ay nagko-cover sa next na halaman. So dapat alamin din natin gaano kalawak yung spreading ng form ng mga tanim natin. So but still considered a dish garden. And things like this. So basically, landscaping, yung edible landscaping natin na i-discuss ko next ay actually, ang kaibahan lang ay yung tanim. No? But we follow same principle. We follow same process no sa pagkaroon ng landscape. No? Nagpo-follow pa rin tayo ng roofing, wallings, and ground cover, etc. May hardscape din tayo and softscape. Ang kaibahan lang lamang po ay edible. But mag-next slide ako for our edible landscaping. So pag may mga questions and all, please type lang sa chat box natin or raise your questions later and we will answer it. So ang first slide ko ay patapos na. We will proceed now sa edible landscaping. So let's start doing the landscape. So thank you for listening sa first slide natin. Sir Emmy, next tayo. Okay lang?
Yes po, Sir Jim. Go
Okay.
ahead po. Sir,
Okay.
baka you might want to click the presenter's view kasi hindi po ata kayo naka-presenter's view kanina. Para mas malaki po yung screen.
Yeah. Sorry.
Maybe for the second deck po. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next one is our edible landscaping. Presenter's view. Saglit.
Yung parang ano po sir, yung i-present nyo na po yung slide. On the lower right po, there's a tabi po ng 68%.
Okay. Slideshow.
Yan po, yung tabi po ng 68%. Yan po.
Okay.
There you go.
Ay, okay. Okay, we are now on edible landscaping. So, lahat ng nakikita nyong halaman sa screen ay edible. Lahat yan ay nakakain. And the other plants there are called insect repellent. No? So pag sabing insect repellent, yung nagre-repel ng insects sa palibot. Okay, let's start. So sabi dito, what's edible landscaping? It is a science and art. No? It's science and art. It is an innovative and creative crop production technology which combines the planting of vegetables, herbs, fruits, and medicinal plants. So, hindi lamang po vegetables, but kinonsider natin yung mga herbs, fruits, and medicinal plant. No? Ang picture na nakikita ninyo ay taken from the landscape of the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. So, again, to recap kanina, sabi natin, kapag ang portion na ito, ang tinatawag na tsaang gubat. Ito yung tsaang gubat na halaman. It's still a tea, no? So, nakakain sila, naiinom sila. And then, meron siya mga kamote tops sa ibaba, petchay sa ibaba, and other herbs and spices. So, kapag ang tanim ay nakalagay sa paso, we call it Mediterranean garden concept. Kapag po ang tanim ay naka-trim down like this, yung naka-spiral trim siya na ganyan, we call it English or formal garden concept. So it's still they follow the garden concept. So it follows the elements of the principles of design kung kanina lang ay nabanggit ko yung elements and principles of the design natin. And normally, kapag nag-edible landscaping tayo, we practice organic management system. Kaso nga lang po, yung organic management system na lecture ay another 3 days din yung na lecture. So, ito po ay bigyan ko lang ng idea. Ang pag-practice po ng organic management system, ito po yung paggamit ng mga pampataba, gamit lamang po yung mga organic sources natin, no? Like halaman, mga isda, etc. So dun po nanggagaling yung mga pampataba sa ating halaman, no? So yan po yung organic management system na tinatawag. Edible landscaping versus conventional landscaping, yung kaninang diniscuss ko ay conventional landscaping ang tawag noon. So ngayon, we proceed now with the edible landscaping. So edible landscaping gives primacy to the use of vegetables and herbs as major softscape materials as substitute for the ornamental plants that are normally used in the conventional landscaping. So instead po na ornamental, yung ginagamit natin dito naman po ay gumamit tayo ng mga makakain na mga halaman. So pictures, this one is taken from Kling Ranch, Sarangani Province, no? Nag-start na sila ng kanilang edible landscaping sa area nila. Okay, kailan nag-start ang edible landscaping? Ang edible landscaping nag-start po noong 1999 with Dr. Leonido Naranha ng University of the Philippines, Los Baños. No? Under po ito sa kanilang course offering na horticulture, no? In the curriculum of the crop science cluster of the UPLB. No? So Doon po nagsimula talaga ang edible landscaping. No? And then, funded in 2009 by the Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Agricultural Research. Ito po yung mga partners natin sa edible landscaping. We have the UPLB, kami po sa DA, BPI, Bureau of Plant Industry, kumbaga, yung BAR natin, DepEd, the Department of Tourism, and others. So, saan po tayo nabilong? Maybe may mga teachers ako nakita kanina. So, we have DepEd siguro. Ang yung iba siguro ay nasa others. Ano? So, yun po yung mga partners natin, no, sa pagsulong ng edible landscaping. Samples. Okay. Why we do edible landscaping? First is for beauty purposes. Kaya tayo nagla-landscape na panay po, vegetable yung ginagamit natin. First and foremost is for beauty purposes. Next is for functionality, yung kanyang function ng mga halaman, kung ano ba sila, no? And then, the third one is health and wellness, no? Ating kabutihan din yan. And lastly, self-sufficiency. So, kaya tayo nag-edible landscaping, unang-una talaga is for beauty purposes. So, normally, kapag nag-set tayo ng edible landscaping sa ating area, dapat po meron po tayong nursery. No? May mga nursery dapat tayo sa backyard natin para po kapag po yung halaman ay nalalanta na, like this sa picture na ito, yung petchay, let's say, about to harvest na yung petchay, meron kang ilalagay uli na halaman doon from your nursery of the same size. So tayo po, kapag tayo ay, let's say, I guess next week, or this weekend, magkakaroon tayo ng landscaping dyan sa school, di ba? So dapat po, meron po tayong readily available na mga halaman na pwede nang i-transfer sa paglalandscapean po natin. Hindi po dapat siya na itatanim pa lang and then aantay pa tayo ng 3 months bago siya tumubo. Dapat po ready na po silang ita-transfer sa area kung saan po natin i-landscape. So like here sa picture na ito, taken from, this is taken from Malalag National High School, Maitum, Sarangani Province. Ito po yung first placer sa regional competition ng edible landscaping, school-based category. So sila po yung nanalo na school. So school po sila na lahat-lahat ng palibot ay panay po edible landscaping yung ginawa nila. So they use recyclable materials like yan, yung mga used bottles na ito para sa kanilang garden. So again, yung concept ng garden nila ay Mediterranean dahil po gumamit sila ng trellis o yung mga laddering lines nila para po maiangat yung mga halaman. Okay? Ayan. Okay, edible landscaping components. Ito yung mga component na una-una yung softscape natin na banggit ko rin yan kanina. Ito po yung lahat ng mga halaman. Lahat ng mga living things na nandyan sa ating palibot, kung saan these are the plants used in the landscape. Trees, shrubs, herbs. Yan po sila yung mga softscape natin. And we have the hardscape. These are non-living components which can be non-mobile or motile and aid in achieving the function of the space. So ito po yung mga trellis natin. Those are hardscape. Itong set dito, yung garden set na nandyan, yan po ay mga hardscape. Itong mga lampara, yan po ay part ng hardscape. So kasama po sila sa landscaping natin. So, our hardscape. Okay, the triangle form of the edible landscaping, we have the design phase, the maintenance phase, and the implementation phase. What I am discussing right now is actually the design phase only. Because maintenance phase, ito po yung mga paggawa ng mga abuno, yung mga pampataba sa ating halaman. So it's another another topic din yan kasi. So and then implementation phase, nasa inyo na po ito. Kailan nyo ba simulan yung pagla-landscape natin? Kailan ba mag-i-end? May competition ba nito na kailangan siyang i-judge o ganon? So that's the implementation phase. During the design phase, we talk about the elements of the design. So some of this na lecture ko na kanina sa inyo. So we talk about the form and shape. Ito ba yung mga halaman natin, upright spreading ba sila, rounded ba sila, columnar ba sila, etc. Colors, we ventures on colors kanina also. Lines na yung mga lines pala ay meron ding mga may mga meanings pala yung mga lines natin. Textures, and of course the size of the garden. So we talk about balance a while ago. So this one is sample of balance also. This one is ang sinabing balance dito, balance sila both side, no? Yung kanila yung design na nakalagay is balance, no? Yung others, yung right side lamang ay marami lang siyang divisions, yung isang side naman dalawang division lang, pero kung titingnan mo yung equality of impact nila ay pareho lamang. So we call it balance. Okay? Contrast, no? Okay. You can do contrast sa inyong edible landscaping like here. Instead of having it all green lahat-lahat, nag-contrast siya ng brown, no? Sa kulay. So, hindi lamang green lahat-lahat yung kanyang visuals na nakikita natin, but nagkaroon siya ng contrast, so nagkaroon ng brown on this side. Okay? Degree of difference in the treatment of the different elements. Yung tawag nating contrast. Okay? Scale and proportion. This one is taken from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Ito yung kanilang area kung saan tinawag nila itong edible landscape na area nila. So mapapansin niyo may bulaklak sa gitna. Anong bulaklak yan? This is called bougainvillea. Meron silang bougainvillea center. Ang bougainvillea po kasi ay nakakain. No? Yung bulaklak ng bougainvillea ay hinahalo po natin sa ating mga ensalada, sa mga salad natin. No? So, ang bougainvillea po ay edible. So, meaning nakakain sila. And the rest of the softscape surrounds it ay mga edibles na. So, kung mapapansin ninyo, hindi lamang naka-flat garden ang kanilang kamote, bagkus ito ay naka-design, no? Parang recrack ang design niya. So, meron tayong gold na kamote, may violet na kamote, gold na kamote, violet, etc. So, nagkaroon ng disenyo ang kanilang area. So, mangyaring sundan din natin yung kanilang mga design katulad nito. Okay, so we talked of the scale and proportion a while ago. So like here, kung makikita ninyo, nakatanim yung mga halaman nila sa mga recycled bottled nila. Ayan, nakahang sa kanilang mga fences, no? Harmony, when we talk about harmony, a pleasing relationship between all different parts of the design, making each object or component a part of the unified whole. No? Like here, ay, yung harmony nila, yung may tatawag tayong monochromatic. So mono means one, meaning shades of green lahat-lahat ang nilagay niya sa kanyang area. So that's harmony of green. Emphasis, so make sure that your edible landscaping area, yung area kung saan kayo nag-edible landscape, ay meron din siyang accent or focalization. Not only the halaman or the plant itself, pero pwede tayong maglagay ng hardscape katulad ng mga sofa bed, let's say meron tayong mga tables, let's say swings or seesaw, pwede siyang magiging Instagrammable yung area natin. So dapat kapag po nag-edible landscaping tayo, make sure po na dapat Instagrammable sila. So dapat hindi lamang po garden yung habol natin doon, bagkus yung focalization or yung accent ng ating entire landscape ay kasama talaga sa ating edible landscaping. So, emphasis like here, so na-emphasize talaga yung nipa hat nila, and then yun nga lang, no, kung mapapansin niyo may mga areas pa na hindi pa tumubo yung mga tinanim nilang mga halaman. So, kasi dapat sa landscaping, purely covered siya ng ating mga halaman sa palibot. So, ito ay nagsisimula pa lamang sila. Cling Ranch sa Sarangani Province ito. Okay, consider in designing. So you consider your time. Ito ba ay isang competition? Ito ba isang uh, ano lamang, parang ito ba isang showcase ba lamang, ganon? Kailan ba tayo magsisimula? May hinahabol ba tayong season? So, ayan, ngayon po ay dadako na tayo sa summer season, ano? So, consider your time. Hanggang kailan ba ito, no? Yung budget, we cannot give you budget, but siguro naman sa bawat entities na nandito ngayon na nagtitake ng palihan ngayon, meron naman siguro kayong mga budget, no, sa bawat isa. So, it's up to you na yung budget. Site characteristics, of course, you know your site already. So, alam niyo na kung loamy ba, sandy ba yung area ninyo. Style, I give you the style a while ago. So, pwede nyong ibase doon sa garden concept natin, yung estilo ng inyong pag-edible landscape. The maintenance, of course, hindi natin naibigay sa inyong maintenance, no? Dahil ito po yung, sabi ko na 3 days na training nito, yung paggawa ng mga pampataba sa ating mga halaman. So, we call it maintenance. No? Yan po yung consider natin kapag nag-design tayo ng landscape. So, considerations in choosing softscape. First, consider po lahat-lahat ng halaman natin na ilalagay doon. Kung hindi man siya insect repellent, edible po dapat. Next, nutritious. Third, personal preference niyo. Just like me, medyo off ako sa ampalaya. So, meaning wala sa aking garden, wala akong ampalaya dahil personal preference ko 'yon. But it's up to you, no? Kung gusto niyo ng bahay kubo talaga na na landscape, it's up to you. So with ornamental value, meaning maganda talaga tingnan. Maganda talaga ang visual effect ng inyong mga tanim. So meaning pag hindi ka maganda, wala kang place sa landscape, ha? So pag tsaka ka, pag hindi maganda ang beauty mo, hindi ka dapat nalagay sa landscape. So dapat maganda talaga. Kaya natawag natin with ornamental value. Then, of course, know the garden size. Alam niyo naman yung mga garden size na pagtaniman niyo. No? Dahil alam niyo na yung garden size na pipiliin niyo, alam niyo naman siguro kung paano niyo mapupuno yung area na yun. Ang sample na picture na ito ay taken from the garden of Sir I forgot his name. President ito ng Sox Farm Tourism natin, no, dito sa Sox Sargent. So from Jensen, ang kanyang centerpiece sa kanyang edible landscaping actually ay yung awit na parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Meaning, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Yun ang pinaka main crops niya doon sa kanyang garden. Okay? Make sure din yung edible landscaping ninyo ay merong kwento. Yung pagpasok mo pa lang, there's a story behind it. Okay? So, mas nakaka-catch yan kumbaga ng bisita, no? Dahil yung garden ay may kwento. Dito nagsimula ang pagmamahalan ni, things like that. Dito sila nabuwag, things like that. Okay? And then, kayo, kapag nag-aaral talaga kayo ng edible landscaping sa University of the Philippines, Los Baños, for the time being, sa isang semester, ito dapat yung madadaanan ninyo. Gagawa kayo ng base map, site analysis, bubble diagram, concept diagram, master plan, layout plan, grading plan, and planting plan. Itong 8 na ito ay dapat nagagawa ninyo within the semester. So ako, pag nagkakaroon ako ng workshop talaga, let's say face-to-face na workshop, yung number 3 lang yung pinapagawa ko sa aming mga participants. Gumagawa ng bubble diagram. Let's say, alam niyo yung bubble diagram? Let's say, sa isang bubble na ito, dito kayo lalagay yung kamatis. Sa isang bubble na ito, dito yung kamote. Sa isang bubble na ito, okra. Things like that. No? Para lang po ma-layout natin kung ito ba ay nababagay sa ating konsepto ng paggawa ng landscape. Na sabi natin, dapat sa bubble diagram, kung anong nasa bandang likod, yun yung mga matataas na bahagi o medyo matatangkad na mga halaman, followed by hanggang sa ground cover. So yan po ang tawagting bubble diagram. So we don't need to do other yung mga plans dito and all yung mga diagrams dito, wag natin gawin dahil ito ay workshop lamang naman po, no? Pero pag kayo ay into landscaping talaga ng one semester na pag-aaral ng leksyon na ito, so yun po ang pagdadaanan natin. So for now, bubble diagram lamang. I understand on the 14th magkakaroon po tayo ng actual na landscaping so meaning po ay gusto ko rin makita yung bubble diagram ng bawat grupo kung paano po nila i-layout yung mga tanim nila. So according also to our 5 basic garden concept. Okay, may nagkaroon siya ng sariling tawag ito, yung acronym, location. No? L stands for lot and shape and size. So, you know that already. O for the sun orientation. So, dapat kumuha ng area, mag-identify ng area kung saan nabibisit siya ng araw. Next, for climatic condition, siguro naman hindi naman masyadong mahangin or masyadong maulan ang area natin. Depende. A for architectural characteristics. So, baka yung area natin ay may mga considerations when it comes to may mga architectural aspect no sa area, so pwede nating i-consider yon, ito ba'y kasali sa landscape or hindi. T for technical aspect, the topography of the area. I for the individual preference, so ano ba ang gusto nating itanim? Kasi dapat po ang mga tanim natin, i-preference po natin. Just like me, ayoko ng ampalaya, so wala akong ampalaya. Pero mas magandang meron, no? Then letter O for objective the owner. Ano bang gusto nating objective natin? Ito ba ay panakaw lamang sa mga kapitbahay? Or ipainggit lamang sa kabilang school? So, depende sa objective natin, no? And then the nature of end user, ito bang mga halaman natin is for selling or for ano lang talaga, yung pangpaakit lamang? Ito ba ay para sa kumbaga ano lang siya, showcase lamang ba ito or ipapatinda natin ito? So depende po sa nature of end user. You can make your edible landscaping, no? May mga ideas kayo like themed gardens, no? Using our recyclable materials. So katulad nitong nasa itaas na picture, ito ay galing sa Banisil Elementary School ng Jensen. Ito naman sila ay may Disney theme, no? Disney ang theme ng kanilang garden. Then you can have vertical garden also like itong sa baba, no? So edible landscape garden nila, pero vertical yung pagka-layout ng mga plants nila. Okay, during the implementation phase, okay, we talk about site clearing. So sa March 14, makikita ko po yung ating area. So kung na-layout nyo na ba siya or mag-start pala ng layout. So yan po yung i-visit natin during the implementation phase. Okay? Magkakaroon ba kayo ng construction ng hardscape natin or meron ng actual na hardscape na nandoon na or present na ba yung hardscape natin doon? And then of course, our plants or yung mga softscape natin. I suggest yung mga plants na itatanim next meeting natin ay kung mangyaring buhay na siya, kung mangyaring itatransplant na lamang siya, then mag-i-start tayo ng seedling pa. So, ang landscaping kasi hindi nag-i-start sa seedling. Nag-i-start siya sa kung ano yung look dapat ng plant na. Let's say, if you sketch na yung plant ay nasa 3 feet na siya, so dapat nasa 3 feet na siyang ita-transplant sa area. Hindi po yung seed pa lang. Okay, please consider that. Okay, these are just some pictures of the edible landscaping. Like here, mga iba't ibang plants na ito. Okay, kung mapapansin niyo kapag nag-layout kayo ng edible landscape, since landscape na siya, refrain from doing plot gardening. Pag sabing plot gardening, isang plot ng carrot, isang plot ng pechay, isang plot ng sili, hindi po siya nakaline na ganun. Okay? Observe this one. So, yung area na ito, hindi po siya naka-plot na isang plot niyan, isang plot ito, hindi. Yan po ay naka-layout mismo. Naka-layout siya na parang garden, parang ano talaga siya, parang landscape talaga siya. Okay? Hindi po siya yung tipong yung elementary tayo na plot gardening ginagawa natin. Okay, maintenance phase. I won't discuss this anymore dahil ito po yung actually yung mga pampataba. Kaso nga lang po na yung topic ko ngayon is more of the visual. But mostly siguro next meeting bibigyan ko na lamang kayo ng mga babasahin no patungkol sa maintenance phase natin. This one is taken from the University of Southern Mindanao. Ito yung edible landscaping area nila kung saan they won 3rd place sa school-based category sa edible landscaping natin na contest nung araw. So, meron sila. So, this is an aquatic garden actually. This one won 1st place in school-based category. Malalag National High School in Maitom, Sarangani, no? Sila po yung first placer the entire Region 12, no? Because nasa Region 12 kami. So, observe, hindi po naka-plot garden. Titingnan ninyo, naka-layout po ang bawat isa. So, they use also Mediterranean garden concept. Ayan. And they use recyclable material, no? To finish their edible landscape. This one is in Kling Sarangani province, farm-based category. This one is in Malalag National High School. Oh, this one, you can use your old bags, no? Yung mga LV natin dyan, o lumang bag, no? May mga lumang bags lang sinabit at saka tinamnan ng kanilang mga halaman, no? So you can fairly use that as your pagtataniman ng mga halaman natin. Okay, pwede din maglagay ng mga icons or logo, so depende. So it's up to you kung paano nyo layout yung ating edible landscape. Sa isang school sa Kidapawan City, nagkaroon sila ng layering ng mga tanim sa backyard ng kanilang school. This one is taken from Nulambunaw Elementary School in Tantangan. So, ayan, very, very DepEd na, very pinta-pinta. Sige, sige lang. Okay. This one is in front of our office. Ayan, sa harapan po ng opisina namin. So, look how we did the layout, no? This one is in Kidapawan National High School. Instead of planting it direct sa lupa, wala na silang lupa doon dahil na-concrete na yung area nila. So, nilagay nila sa sakubag. Ayan. Even old jeans, no? You can use your old jeans to plant your edible plants, no? So mapapansin niyo doon sa isang dulo, merong mga mayana. Mayana is not a vegetable, pero sila ay medicinal plant. So they can be joined sa ating edible landscaping. This one is in front of our office, the Agricultural Training Institute. Starting pa lang ng layout, no? we use Mediterranean garden concept. Yan na yung final niya. So look at the vegetables, no, na properly lay out sila. At nagkaroon ng may mga potted plants din kami dyan. So we use Mediterranean garden concept. And look at the lines, no? Instead of having straight line, we do curvular lines, no? We do curved lines, no? Para naman po meron pong flow ang ating visuals, no, sa ating garden. So this is an example of an edible landscape. So pansinin po natin, instead of doing ornamentals, instead ng mga ornamentals yan silang tinanim natin, we can do it in edible landscaping. That one. So actually itong garden namin, kapag may nalalanta na ng mga halaman, katulad na on this side, lanta na yun actually na harvest na yung nakalagay dito. Nag-transfer kami of the same almost size na ng plant na inilagay. So we have nursery, no, may nursery kami sa likod ng office at saka tinransfer lang doon sa edible landscaping natin. Because this is a showcase, edible landscaping is a showcase, so dapat every time na pupunta yung bisita natin, may makikita talaga silang actual na tumutubo ng mga halaman sa area natin. Okay, another sample ng edible landscape. Okay. This one is another sample. So kung mapapansin niyo, may mga portion pa talagang may lupa, dahil yung iba na ay kakababago lang na siya ng transplant, no? So kung mapapansin, may mga lupa pa talaga. But initially, pag sinasabi natin landscaping, fully covered dapat siya ng ground cover natin. Okay? So another sample ng mga landscape natin, yung pag-use ng mga recyclable material. Caution lang. Si Department of Tourism ay ayaw niyang gumamit ng recyclable material dahil sabi nila magso-showcase na nga lang tayo ng garden natin, yung mga basura pang pinapakita natin. But we from the Agricultural Training Institute, we call it waste management. So for us okay naman, pero hangga't mangyari si DOT, ayaw niya lang na masyadong i-venture yung inyong garden into pag-display ng basura. So, kailangan daw, instead of using recyclable material, use yung mga indigenous materials like bamboos, mga tipong ganon. Yung baon ng nyog. So, baka yun yung pwede nating paglalagyan ng ating mga halaman. But it's up to you, ha? You can have recyclable material and indigenous material. So, I guess, yan, samples na lamang ito ng mga garden concept natin through edible landscaping. So, ganun lamang po. Importante, present po si ceiling, si walling, si ground cover. Present din po si softscape, of course, at saka si hardscape. Kapag po nagpa-plan tayo ng edible landscaping, ibabase po natin sila sa 5 basic garden concept na diniscuss natin earlier. So, yun lamang po, no, ang kabuuan ng edible landscaping. Yung kaibahan lang ng edible landscaping sa ating ornamental, yung paggamit lang po ng halaman. But basically, we follow the principle of the ornamental landscaping. So unless you have questions, clarifications, and wag naman violent reaction, you can throw your question now sa ating chat box or pwedeng you may raise your hand at as far as my knowledge is concerned, ay sasagutin po yung ating mga tanong. So enjoy edible landscaping, everyone.
All right. So please, you may use the raise hand icon, or you may type their questions on the chat box. So while composing your questions, we would like to To acknowledge the National Museum trustees, no, Carlo Ebeo, the NCCA coordinators, Jun Hamero, Dan Ralph Subla, our partners and collaborators from Ifugao and Sagada who are watching us now on FB Live, our partners and collaborators from BARM. Okay, so thank you for joining us this morning. So sige po. So you may write down the questions now. Sir, siguro ako na lang muna magtanong.
Sige po.
May particular ano po ba na specs or requirement ng space for building a small ano lang muna edible garden kunyari sa backyard?
Yeah, depende po sa inyong backyard garden, ma'am. Normally, pag sinabi natin backyard garden, so small space. No such measurement ang mini-measure natin para po magkaroon kayo ng area for edible landscape, no? Ganito lamang po. Isipin natin kung yung area ninyo ay backyard po siya. So, ang idea is that 3/4 of it dapat mapuno natin ng halaman. So 1/4 of it maybe for resting place, ganon. Dapat po yung isang area po natin, let's say is a courtyard, sa isang courtyard na yan, the whole 3/4 of it planted po sila, and the 1/4 of it yun po yung rest of the space.
All right. Thank you po, sir. Ano pong starter kit? May starter kit po ba?
Yeah. Normally, kami, pag nag-workshop kami normal, kasi ito 7 days, kasi from land prep talaga hanggang sa pagtanim or pagtransplant ng mga plant natin. So, depende po sa need ng workshop. Pero po, kapag let's say, yung workshop talaga ay landscaping talaga, dapat readily available na po yung mga planting materials. Ganun po.
Alright, sir. Thank you po. Meron po nag-raise ng hand, no? From the attendees. Si Gray Kizan. Yeah, okay. You may open your unmute and so that you can ask your question. Gray Kizan, tama po ba?
Naka-mute.
Oo. From the attendees po. May Q&A. Sir, parang wala ako makita from my end. Sa Q&A. Okay. Wait lang po, sir, ha? Alright. I got it. Okay, so sir, here, I would like to ask if meron po bang indoor landscaping?
Yes, opo. May tinatawag po tayong indoor landscaping. Ito po yung mga less sunrise, So, aralin po natin yung mga plants na grow lamang po sa 25% sunlight. Meaning po, yung 25% sunlight, mostly they are indoor. So, may mga plants talaga na pang-indoor lamang, no? Na dapat 1/4 sunrise lang, or let's say 25% lang ng sunrise sila. So yes, meron pong indoor landscaping. So sa indoor landscaping, still use the principle, the roofing, the walling, the ground cover, etc. The hardscape, the softscape, nandun pa rin sila. Pero indoor lamang.
Okay. Thank you po. Okay, so meron po dito, Sir Jim, meron po ba kayo magbibigay na reference for tie-dye plants that are perfect for edible gardening? We will be doing natural dye gardening in Maguindanao with our Iranun weavers. Salamat.
Wow! First time ko narinig, ma'am, yung tie-dye. Ano yun?
Oo
Ang alam
nga,
kong
Sir.
tie-dye, yung na tie-dye lang yung tela. Pero sa plants, I don't think so. Ay, hindi po ako versed doon sa tie-dye ng mga plants.
Example niya, Jim, yung mga kanalom ng Tiboli.
Aya, the Canalom de Tiboli, anong gusto po nating mangyari, sir?
I think yan ang tinatanong niya, mga types of plants na pwedeng pang-dye, pang-tina ba ng mga fabrics. So
Yeah.
example niyan ay
The Canalom,
Yeah.
the
So I
Canalom
think
tree of
example
the Tiboli. Ano po yung
at saka
question?
ano pa yung mga
Nanay?
dahon?
Ano po yung question about?
Ano daw yung mga sample?
Ang question sa tie-dye.
Ano daw yung mga sample?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know for sure is the Canalom tree, yung Canalom plant na yon. Yun po yung ginagawa namin dito sa Tiboli, yung pagta-tie-dye namin. So yun yung alam ko, the roots, the leaves, and the barks of the tree, yun lang ginagamit namin sa tie-dyeing. And hanggang doon lang alam ko, ma'am, sa tie-dye.
Okay.
Or maybe they would like to know how possible kaya to include that one, no, among the plant materials in the landscaping.
Yeah, but basically pag edible hindi siya pwede dahil hindi naman edible yung Canalom tree, ano. Pero pag nasa pag nasa ornamental gardening tayo, we can use it.
So basically, Sir Jim, you're trying to tell us now that for the edible landscaping, again, if we may recall what you have mentioned a while ago, it should be either ano po siya, insect repellent siya,
Yes.
or edible
Medicinal plant could be, kasi may mga medicinal plant tayo na hindi naman sila nakakain, but it used for medicine like damayanas, no? So yun pwede silang ihalo sa ating edible landscaping. Marigold, hindi naman sila nakakain, but they are insect repellent. Tanglad, no? Hindi naman basically yung tanglad, yung infused na lang naman ang nakakain natin doon, but hindi po sila nakakain per se, no? So they can be joined sa ating edible landscaping.
Okay. Thank you.
Like trees, let's say for your roofings, like tawag nito, yung bamboos, no? Bamboos kasi may mga bamboo shoots naman tayo, nakakain naman sila. So bamboos, pwede silang maging roofings ng ating edible landscaping. The white one, yung bulaklak yung puting bulaklak ng sinasalad-salad natin. Katuray, we can use katuray also as our roofings in our edible landscape.
Sir Jim?
Yes po.
Sir Jim?
Yes, Sir Carlo.
Siguro yung mga coffee, di ba? Tsaka yung mga tsaa, pwede rin yung pang dye eh. I remember si Sir Policarpio dati nagagamit ng ganon. Edible din yung coffee.
Yeah, I remember one of my barongs nung araw ay tinay-dye siya sa tsaa. Pwede din 'yon.
Yeah, I think mga ganun ang tinatanong ng kanina yung participant from Maguindanao.
Yes. Pwede po isali sa
dye. At even at sweaty powder, di ba? Mga ganun.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Red. So, edible din yung at sweaty.
So ginger also can be.
Particularly yung sa ginger, sir, yung color yellow na ginger.
Yung langkawan?
Yes. Yeah. Is that the saffron nasa Turmeric, yeah. Turmeric. Iba din ang saffron, ano?
Saffron iba din.
Yung pinaka-uso ngayon na yung eternity, ano ba yun? Yung color blue?
The blue turnip. Blue turnip.
Yes. Yeah.
Alam niyo ba yung Tagalog ng blue turnip?
Ano?
Pukingan.
Ano daw?
Pukingan.
Puking.
Yes, yan talaga Tagalog niya. My God. It's the single
Anong
cutout,
Tagalog?
the blue turnip looks like a vagina. So kaya siya
That's
tinawag na blue
why.
turnip.
Okay.
Ternate pala siya. Yeah.
Oo. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yan. May mga
Okay.
katanungan pa kaya,
Questions?
Mamay?
So far, yun lang ang na raise na question, sir.
Oo. But I think si Sir Carlo posted a comment earlier na our different, how do you call this, partners and collaborators may also specifically consult with Sir Jim in regards to the landscaping
Yes,
that
sir.
they'll be doing in the respective areas, no? So I don't know, sir, how will we go about that one? Maybe not in this webinar, but maybe in another, ano.
Baka pwede sila mag-video call sa TV.
Yeah.
Maybe when they do their landscaping, mag-video call sila kay Sir Jim para lang for comments and critique later on.
Yes. Pwede. Mangyari po.
All right. Mamay?
Okay, so wala na, no? I think wala na, sir, na questions. We can proceed sa ano, sir, the next part. So before we go to the awarding of the certificate, may we request the panelists to kindly open our video. I mean your camera, so that we could have a photo opportunity. Alright. So sige po. Kompleto na po ba? Ma'am Ina?
Mamaya ako po ang magte-take ng
Okay.
picture.
Sige, sir. Can you direct us, sir, kung, I mean, if we're about to start or ano?
Alright, sige pa. I'll be counting 3, 2, 1. Tapos by 1 po, let's take the
Okay,
picture.
sige. Thank you.
Alright, everyone. 3, 2, 1. Okay. One more po. 3, 2, 1. Alright, thank you.
Alright, thank you. Alright, so we're just going to wait for the certificate to be flashed on the screen. Alright, so the NCCA, Balag at Tukod, Tambayayong Hub Network, and PWC is awarding the certificate of appreciation to Mr. Jim C. Raburar for sharing his expertise as a resource speaker on edible landscaping during the Balag, Tukod, ug Tambayayong held on March 8, 2021 through Zoom. Given this 8th day of March 2021, signed by Darwin F. Suyat, Dr. Darwin F. Suyat, Project Coordinator of Balag and Tukod. Congrats, sir. Thank you po. Maraming pong salamat. All right, so okay, so to synthesize, no, it is not bad to envision a day when every city and town has front and backyards, no, community gardens and growing spaces nurtured into life by neighbors who are no longer strangers but friends who delight in edible rewards offered from a garden they discovered together. Imagine small trips of land between apartment buildings that have turned into vegetable gardens and urban orchards planted at schools and churches to grow food for our communities. The seeds of the urban farming movement already are growing within our reality. The man who has planted a garden feels that he has done something good, no, for the world. It is a great pleasure to eat fruit of one's toil, may it be a garden of lettuce or a mango seed. To dig in the soil is a great thing. One gets strength out of the ground. There is life in the ground. It goes into the seeds, such power that a plant from a seed can give life to the world. There is a saying, anybody who wants to rule the world should try to rule a garden first. This is actually a saying for basically gardeners, no? From the gardeners. Okay, so for maybe we have announcements. May we call on our head of CISB from PWC, Mr. Emmy L. Engli, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mamay. I really like the last phrase or statement there, that anyone who wants to rule the world must first rule a garden. So I think this is really a wonderful opportunity for everyone here listening and who have really taken their time to join us this morning, no, to start the gardening. And I'm pretty sure from there you can definitely develop values, no, of patience, determination, because it's not easy to really plant and grow them, no. So we are really thankful to the National Commission for Culture and the Arts for having this project. Maraming salamat, and also for engaging Philippine Women's College of Davao in this, I would say, very timely project, especially now that we are facing a pandemic, a crisis. We need to be self-sufficient, and of course, gardening is but one of the many opportunities that can help us to be self-sufficient. So we will just all be I will just be keeping ourselves posted for announcements as we go along, because this project will really be we will really be having this one in the next how many months, no? So our organizers, led of course by our project director, Dr. Darwin Suyat, will be keeping all of us posted. Meanwhile, our resource person this morning, Mr. Raborar, will definitely be available for Zoom video calls or Zoom meetings, no, for our respective collaborators naman, who would like to have specific consultation as to their plans, no, for their respective urban landscaping project or activities. So for this morning, in behalf of PWC of Davao, our Chancellor, Professor Vicente Antonio, VP Hano III, we would like to thank the Tagum City Council of Women Foundation, Inc., chaired by Ma'am Alma Uy, and of course, the presence po of our Barangay Council Women Presidents who are here. Nandiyan po sila sa video screen if you happen to see them. Maraming salamat po for joining us, and we are excited to see po kung ano po yung mga ginagawa na po ninyo sa Tagum City, and we're very excited to go there and witness it ourselves, no? Ayan. So also we would like to thank din po the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. We have our program coordinators po dito ngayon, si Sir June Hamero, syempre. Si Sir Dan Subla also is here with us this morning. And of course, our trustee from the National Museum, who is ever supportive po, especially with NCCA-related culture education projects and activities, si Sir Carlo Ebeyo. Maraming salamat for having all of us here this morning. So once again, we hope that this webinar is really helpful, and we would like to, of course, see how this will go from here onwards. So once again, maraming salamat po sa atin. Happy National Women's Month. Thank you, Sir Jim Raborar. Thank you, everyone. Madayaw na buntag sa ato ang tananggikan diri sa Davao.
lantaw-lantawon, paminaw-minawon, kadasig ipadayon, aron magmalambon, magkahiusa. Lantaw-lantawon, paminaw-minawon, kadasig ipadayon, aron magmalambon, magkahiusa kada paunon, si kami danawon. Magkahiusa kada paunon, si kami danawon. Lantaw-lantawon, paminaw-minawon, kadasig ipadayon, aron magmalambon, magkahiusa kada paunon, si kami danawon. Lantaw-lantawon ang kaanyag, sayutang saad, bahandi ugasa sa kalibutan. Paminaw-minawon huni sa kinaiyahan, duyog-duyogan tulog sa katigulangan. Kanta-kantahon kasaysayan sa kinauyukan, hamukon bagong naandan, pagdulong sa kahiusahan. Kay kita gihiusa sa atong kultura, kita gihiusa sa atong gugma, kita gihiusa sa tunhay nga kalinaw, sugaton kabag-uhan nga kadasig ang hinagiban. Lantaw-lantawon, paminaw-minawon, kadasig ipadayon, aron magmalambon, magkahiusa. Lantaw-lantawon, paminaw-minawon, kadasig ipadayon, aron magmalambon, magkahiusa kada paunon, si kami danawon. Kay kita gihiusa sa atong kultura, kita gihiusa sa atong gugma, kita gihiusa sa tunay nga kalinaw, sugaton kabakuhan nga kadasig ang hinagiban. Lantaw-lantawon, paminaw-minawon, kadasig ipadayon, aron magmalambon, magkahiusa. Lantaw-lantawon, paminaw-minawon,